It's still a new channel for me. I'm trying to figure out what type of videos I want to have on here. But, I am a student of literature. I like reading, memoirs, personal accounts, stories, things like that. And so I thought it'd be fun to do like a few videos about things that have happened in my life, like weird, spooky things like that. Given that it's summer and a lot of things are closed, it made me think about fun times that I had growing up in the summer. I don't know if you guys have state fairs or county fairs where you live. I know in a lot of places they're a really big deal. So growing up in Southern California, we have what's called the Orange County Fair. So every year in the summer, there's maybe like a month, over the span of a month, like during the month of July, concerts, rides, games, like really good food. And even as you got older, it's still fun to kind of go back and enjoy, the fun stuff that they have there. There was one year where it might have been like late high school, early college. I don't remember the year exactly, but I know for a fact it's been more than 10 years. At the time, me and my friends were really into, just getting into astrology. We were kind of into psychic readings, ghost stories. And so when we went to the fair this year, there's maybe about 5 or 6 of us there. They had a psychic reading tent there. So when you go through the fair, there's different sections where they have different things. And there's one section for food, and it's kind of near the front. And then on the other side of that, there's tents for crafts, arts and crafts, jewelry. It's always fun to kind of walk through and see what they have. And so this particular year, they had a psychic reading tent. We thought it would be cool to go and see what they said. I think I had a few friends that were kind of scared to go, and they really didn't want to do it, which is kind of funny to me because everybody else was like, this is going to be fun. I want to see what they say. They had different readers. So you walk in and it's this tent, and if you can picture it, it's sort of the lights and bohemian art and stuff like that. It kind of had that vibe of a psychic reader, I guess. It's so we walk in and there's 4 different tables set up. And I don't know if they were family members or relatives or friends. I'm not really sure. They were all women, at different ages. I think the youngest reader looked to be maybe about 20 years old. The oldest reader looked maybe to be about in her 50s or 60s. So there were 5 or 6 of us, so a few of us had to wait for other people to be done to get their reading. But they had a few different options. You could get your palm read, and I think that was the cheapest option. Then there was a psychic reading or an aura reading. So it's aura or energy reading. And then they had a tarot reading, which was the most expensive option you can get. And you could do it for different amounts of time. So I think the minimum was 10 or 15 minutes, and the longest you could get was half hour to, might have even been an hour. But that was the most expensive one. Most of us got the psychic aura energy reading. I had one friend that got the palm reading, and then another one that did the tarot cards. It was pretty interesting. I think we all had different results. It was sort of a fun thing, but I wanted to kind of look back at that instance and compare, what they told me, did certain things come true or not. Given that it's 2020 and, there's a lot of really difficult things going on right now. Just following the astrology online, there's a lot of posts recently this week about predictions for July and predictions for the rest of 2020. Definitely recommend checking those out. According to what they're saying, 2020 has been a difficult year. It's going to get more difficult, but things should get a little bit better at the end of this year, end of December. At least that's what I got and what I've heard. That being said, I wanted to look back and see where I am now, where I am today. Did that reading 10 years ago actually play out like they were telling me it was going to? And again, I don't know if this reader was authentic or accurate or not. It's just sort of a fun little thing I wanted to revisit. I want to say this also. You just sort of sit down and they get a sense about you, but you don't tell them anything until the end. So you're allowed to ask questions, but you have to do that at the end of the reading. So basically I just sat down and didn't say anything until my time was almost up. The first thing they told me was that I had been through, difficult times, or had been through a lot for somebody at such a young age. And I felt like that was kind of general. I feel like you could say that about a lot of people. Life is hard. We go through difficult times. It wasn't specific enough to me until they got into the next part, which was, they said, okay, going forward, I see that like your career and your education and your name will be really tied closely together. Looking back at 2020, now today, I think that's definitely something that did play out. I'm in a PhD program. I studied at a master's program at Columbia. I got my bachelor's. Like, education has been really important to me, and it's a field that I'm working in currently. And so for somebody to say like that was the first thing that they were saying about myself was pretty interesting. People have told me that I give across like vibes that I'm somebody that's really studious or into books. And that's always been true. I've always been interested in reading, learning. The second thing they said was that I was going to travel a lot, and that my travel would be really tied together to all of that. And that is something that's definitely played out. Like, most recently I moved here last year. But before that, I've moved around a lot for college and school and things like that. To San Francisco, I moved to the Midwest, I moved to New York twice. I'm here in the South now, and so I feel like travel and education, like all of that really tied together, and so that was pretty spot on, I would say, and I'll give them credit for that. They also said that while traveling, I would meet somebody from a different country that I would sort of work with them, or they'd be really important for getting my career started. What was interesting was like when I first moved to New York, the first job that I got was that worked in the fashion industry in New York City in the garment district, and they owned like a marketing firm. They did photography. They had, they were a fashion company. So this person did a lot of things and had emigrated to the US. When I look back at that particular prediction, that's who I think of, and that's the experience that comes to mind. But again, I don't know if it's, that did happen. That was something that happened. It did kind of play out like that. I feel like they could have been more specific, but it's somewhere on the mark there. And then they also said lastly, like, and looking at 2020 and how difficult the year it's been, this reader was telling me that, in the future things might be really difficult with like family. There might be an illness or something like that. But I felt like that was, especially now with everything that's going on, it has been a difficult year for a lot of people. And for me, it's emphasized the importance of staying connected to your family and staying connected to colleagues and coworkers from a distance, which has been really hard for a lot of people. That to me was like sort of the most general thing that they were saying, because, that's just life. Things are going to get difficult at times. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be great 100% of the time. And so to me, that was sort of like a given, like we're all going to have tough times. Especially this year. At the end of it, my friends and I were like just comparing notes and saying, okay, what did they tell you? Like, and so that was kind of like the best part about it, was just sharing that experience with others. Did they say specifically, in 2020, this is going to happen to you or the world? That's not what that was. But this is me just sort of reflecting now, this year, given everything that's happened. I wanted to look back, 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago, at this experience that I had. It was a fun time over the summer. What did they say that, was true? Did it come true? Was it off the mark? So overall, like, some things were right, surprisingly. Other things I felt were too general to kind of make a conclusion about. But again, it was a fun experience. It's a fun memory that I had from, the summer growing up when I was, in high school or college. Were they like an authentic psychic reader? Like, would I go back and do that again? Probably not. Maybe just for fun, just for laughs. But, if I really wanted to get a reading done, I would go to somebody that, is well-known, that's established, that I trust. I really think there are good readers out there. I think there are people that are very skilled and, spent years developing their craft, using divinatory methods, whether that's astrology, tarot, runes, that is something that I believe in. I think there are people out there that have those skills and can use their intuition and use their training to give you an accurate reading. You know, being in New York and living there for a while, there were a few places, a few bookstores, a few people that I became familiar with that I would highly recommend getting a reading from. And I'll do another video about that, explaining, you know, where I would go to do that. When you're going to a fair, it's a fun experience. It's not really, you know, you're not going there to get like a serious reading done, at least in my view. But yeah, you know, that's what happened to me. It's been a tough year for a lot of people. It's been a difficult summer, but I think, you know, eventually we'll pull through it. And it's important to remember that, you know, there are times when you have fun, but, you know, in order to get back to that 100%, we have to do our part to take care of our health, to take care of each other, and eventually, hopefully, we'll be able to enjoy that again. But in the meantime, I think we do owe it to other people to think about the impact that our actions can have. You know, remember those good things, and, you know, hopefully we'll be able to enjoy that again. So, you know, ideally next summer, maybe I can go back to the fair, you know, have some funnel cake, go on a few rides, spend some time with family. But yeah, that was my story. I just wanted to share that. It was a fun experience from my summer growing up. But if you're new to my channel, if you like stuff like psychology, philosophy, astrology, spirituality, things like that, give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe. It's still a new channel. I'm hoping to do more videos that are sort of anecdotes. Hopefully these videos are entertaining or helpful for you. But yeah, that was my story. That's all I wanted to talk about for today. I hope everybody's doing well. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.